Hey guys, it's Brooke with SupertutorTV, and today I'm going to give you 5 tips for the SAT reading section. Before we get going, I just want to encourage all of you to subscribe to our channel. All you have to do is click on that subscribe button below the video. It's really fun and awesome. You will love it. So my first tip is read with a purpose. When you read, you have to read actively. And what that means is you have to know what you're looking for. It makes it a little bit faster if you kind of have a general idea of the essay and you also know where to look. So what does that come down to? It comes down to 3 points, okay? So first you have to figure out what in the world is going on in a passage. 2, you're looking for the tone or take of the author. Look at the word choice that the author uses. Does it sound exciting and interesting and happy? Use your senses to try to figure out what the passage is getting at. Okay? And then finally, the other thing that you need to read for when you read with a purpose is a map of the passage. What I mean by a map of the passage is you know where stuff is so you can come back to it. Do not try to memorize every detail. If you try to do that, you're just going to drive yourself nuts and not be able to do it. Actively reading with a purpose, that's what's going to help you get through the passage in a way that's really effective before you go to the questions. And I do recommend that you do passage first, question second, because usually it's a little bit more efficient. My second tip is don't cherry pick. Cherry picking is this idea that you only look at some of an answer choice. So here we're going to look at number 1 here. This is from a passage that's on Khan Academy. I just cut and pasted this so you guys can kind of see. And it says the main purpose of the first paragraph is to, and we've got several answers here. Here's what cherry picking is. Cherry picking is I take one word like ballroom and I say, wait a minute, I remember the word ballroom. It was in the first line. Look, it's the word ballroom. Ta-da, that must be the answer. You can't just take one word, and just because one word's there and one word's here, that does not make it the right answer. You have to look at the whole idea of what an answer choice is about. So this answer choice says, show how claustrophobic and crowded the ballroom is. This answer choice is actually about showing claustrophobia and crowdedness. We happen to be in a ballroom, but this is actually not what the main paragraph is about. If you read the whole paragraph, it's really about these 2 ladies walking into a party, okay? And that answer is actually here, which is C, describe the main character's belated arrival at the ball. And it's belated because they're running late, and we know that from the first paragraph till late over here. So that's what cherry picking is all about. It's about not looking at tiny details and assuming there's something huge. Okay, next tip, half right is not right. A lot of times you have these answer choices that have what I call like 50-50s. This is particularly true on a type of question that is particular to this test. And that type of question is this one, which is, which statement best characterizes the relationship between Mrs. Allen and Catherine? So you see how we've got 2 things going on in each of these answer choices. Both of these things have to be true. And I know, again, you guys probably haven't read this passage, and that's okay, but I'm just gonna tell you, it is really clear when you read this passage that Catherine is frustrated by Mrs. Allen's lack of social connection. So this is so easy to agree with, but the problem with this answer choice is this part, which is she is amused by Mrs. Allen. This is just totally wrong. So this answer choice is wrong, but I have so many students that will pick it because this is so 100% right. But the truth is, even though half of it is 100% right, half right is not right. You're much better off picking an answer choice that might only feel 70% right on each of the answer choices, but each of the 50-50 is right, and that is this answer choice. So irritated by Mrs. Allen, you can see how frustrated by lack of social connections is another way to say irritated by her, right? So these are essentially the same idea. And this is true. It's not worded as perfectly as this, it's not as specific, it's not as easy to grasp onto, but it's right. She also defers to her in conversation, and there's an example of that we can find. But A is the right answer because it's 100% right, because both of these elements are right, even if they're only 70, 80, 90% right each. That's better than having one 100% right and another one that's wrong. 4th tip, don't attempt which of the following is the best evidence questions out of order. So here's what that question is. It's right after this one. Do not do these first. Which of the following provides the best evidence for the answer to the previous question? If you've done enough practice tests of these, you probably know that a lot of the time you get this guy right and the one after it wrong. A lot of times the best evidence is a conglomeration of like 3 of these, which is super annoying, by the way, and some other detail that's the best evidence that's not even in the list. So usually the question before it is an easier question than this question. Because I find that a lot of my students get this right and get this part wrong, I recommend that you do this part first and then this part second, so that you don't get led astray by the fact that sometimes these pieces of evidence are not actually the best evidence for this. They're just you have to pick which one of the 4 is the best evidence for what you actually chose. And my last tip is zoom out. And what I mean by zoom out is oftentimes we can get so wrapped up in the details of like, oh, I saw that word, and oh, this word I saw over there. And on this test in general, a lot of times the right answer is not perfect. What I would compare this to is if you had a dartboard, right? And the perfect answer would be like the red center of the circle. A lot of times the right answer on the SAT is 1 ring outside of that. And then there's other answer choices that are 3 or 4 rings outside of that, right? Your goal is to find the closest to the center. And one of the easiest ways to do that sometimes is actually to zoom out a little bit and to try to look at the whole picture and say, what's closest to the gist? What's closest to what's actually at the heart of this? So don't expect to find the perfect answer, expect to find the closest to the perfect answer, and that's what's going to be right. Those are my 5 best tips for the SAT reading section. I hope you guys like this. If so, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. You can also check out our social media, Facebook and Twitter, and I'll see all of you guys next time on Super Tutor TV. Thanks, and watch more videos.